guys, it's Levi here again and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here just at my house getting ready to leave to go to the airport because I'll be flying with Qantas on their 737-800 in economy from here in Adelaide over to Perth in Western Australia. So I'm just getting my final bags ready and then we'll be heading over to the airport, so come along for the journey with me. To say I was excited for today's flight and trip report would definitely be an understatement. As you've probably seen from the title, today I will have my dad flying me over to Perth as the first officer, which is definitely pretty cool. We've flown together multiple times. I've flown with him to Darwin, to Perth once when I was little, but never filmed it for a trip report. So I'd like to first and foremost welcome you on board. Today we had a pretty early start. We had to wake up at about 3:30 so that we could be at the airport by 5:30 a.m. Because I was with my dad, we get to park at the staff car park, which has a shorter walk to the terminal. And I always love walking down here because you get a great view of the QantasLink -8s and the Rex Sub 340s. Today was a pretty cold morning, so we definitely enjoyed having the shorter walk to the terminal. As you walk into the level 1 part of the terminal at Adelaide Airport, you first walk through the National Jet Express check-in, which is to the right, and then you enter where the baggage claim is. As today it is before the curfew, which is 6 a.m, there are no arriving flights, which means there's no one collecting any bags. Just as you head up the escalators, you will then be taken up to the second level where all the main airline check-in counters are. And to be honest with you, I was very surprised with how busy it was this morning. But yet again, there were lots of internationals coming in, so I can't say I didn't expect it. After I went through security, which took about 30 to 40 minutes, I had a good chat with my dad and the captain, and they briefed over what the flight would be like today. Now here on the board is my flight today, which is QF883 over to Perth in Western Australia. And not before long, I was given a great view of my aircraft today, which is a 15-year-old Qantas Boeing 737-800 with the registration of Victor Hotel, Victor Zulu Foxtrot. I would like to apologise for the previous and upcoming footage in the next few sections, just because there isn't much of it. Unfortunately, because my dad was flying today and it was so last minute, I only knew the day before, I wasn't actually guaranteed a seat because we were using staff travel, which gives you a discount but doesn't guarantee you a seat. So everything was really rushed and a bit stressed, and I also wanted to personally enjoy the experience than worrying about filming the whole thing. So hopefully you don't mind, but a good positive side of things was I actually got the chance to have an early boarding about 10 minutes before the rest of the passengers, so that I could head up to the cockpit and talk with my dad and the captain. It was pretty cool because I even had like a Qantas employee walk me down the Eyre bridge and take me onto the plane. So please enjoy the upcoming footage of the cockpit and the cabin crew.
Hello, in Levi. Did you want to say hello there?
That's all right.
Of course, darling, I'm just having it open.
Fortunately, just as I arrived, the engineer was just finishing up the few issues that he had to fix, so I was able to fortunately head up and sit in the captain's seat as my dad was setting up the aircraft, which was definitely a pretty cool experience as I don't do this side of trip reports that often. After Dad set up and taught me a few things and showed me around the cockpit a bit, I headed back to my seat as the rest of the plane was boarded and they were getting ready for departure. Today I would be seated in 24 Foxtrot, so now it is time to do some seat features. Legroom on today's flight in economy class wasn't too bad, just your average for Australian domestic. In the seat pocket in front of you, you have a Qantas safety card, along with an air sickness bag and a pretty chunky Qantas magazine for entertainment if you don't want to watch movies or use your own device. You have a 9-inch seat back entertainment touchscreen on the back of your seat. Mine was a little bit dodgy, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And you also have a medium-sized tray table which folds down and extends back and forth, also with a built-in cup holder so that if it does get a bit turbulent, your beverages aren't as likely to spill. Along with that, you also have a 4-way adjustable headrest, which I have to say is really comfortable. Just as the final doors were being closed, one cabin crew member came around and gave me a fresh bottle of water and some headphones, which I thought was a really kind gesture as I was the only one to receive the headphones on board. The rest of the passengers had to get them walking down the Eyre bridge. Not before long, when the final door was closed, I was looking to my left and I was like, yes, because I noticed that I had both sides of the aircraft all to myself, which I thought was super cool. Not before long, I got to see a Jetstar Pushback right next to us, and I also got to enjoy my dad giving the PA, so please enjoy.
We're all set to go. We've just got a Jetstar aircraft just pushed back off to our right there. They should only be another minute or two. Once they do get underway, we'll be pushing back. A longish taxi departing to the northeast this morning. A series of left-hand turns, setting course for Perth, flying time 3 hours and 5 minutes. I'll have another chat to you just prior to commencing our descent, update the latest arrival time, weather conditions for you. Until then, please settle back, enjoy the Qantas Inflight service once it does get going, and once again, welcome aboard.
Not long after our pushback, we finally begun our taxi to runway 05, which is a longer taxi than if we were to taxi to runway 23, but nonetheless it has some great views of the tower, the car park, some freight aircraft, along with the Royal Flying Doctor Service and the Pilatus hangar. So I thought that was cool, and the departures from 05 are always so much cooler at sunrise than from 23. So please enjoy some of the taxi footage, and I'll speak to you just before departure. Just after a relatively short taxi to runway 05, here we are already pulling onto the runway. As we are a smaller 737 today, we don't need to use the full runway length, which does shorten taxi time. Instead, we can just use about 3/4 of the runway. So please enjoy this unedited takeoff footage from 05 and this amazing sunrise that comes with it. As we were passing through 10,000 feet, I was able to get some cool footage of the Edinburgh RAAF base, along with the coastline of northern Adelaide. Just as we passed through about 12,000 feet, the pilot switched off the seatbelt sign, and the cabin crew actually came around and gave me a pillow and blanket, which I thought was a really nice and kind gesture, as they didn't have to, and I was the only passenger to receive one. I was actually quite surprised because I didn't even know they had these available on these domestic flights, but apparently they do. Just as we were continuing our climb to our initial cruising altitude of 38,000 feet, I thought I would show you how the seatback entertainment screen is. Mine personally was quite laggy and didn't really react to the buttons I was pressing very well. As you can see, I had to press the button about 3 to 4 times for it to actually react to what I wanted it to do. I've personally flown multiple 737s from Qantas that do have this entertainment screen, and this one definitely was one of the worst. I was expecting this though, as my dad gave me a quick debrief before the flight of the things that were working and weren't working on this aircraft, and there were actually multiple that didn't work at all, so I was just quite fortunate I ended up with a seat that at least had one that worked. It comes with multiple features like an in-flight map and many movies and TV shows. So all in all, I think for a 3-hour flight domestically within Australia, I think it is still a very nice thing to have, unlike Virgin or Jetstar, who don't provide an entertainment screen at all.
The hot option today is scrambled eggs with braised beans, sauteed greens. And scrambled eggs with braised beans and sauteed greens.
About 30 minutes after takeoff, the cabin crew came around and asked what we would like for breakfast. There were 2 options this morning, the first being scrambled eggs with some vegetables and a yogurt, and then also an apple banana bread with some yogurt. I went for the banana bread, an apple and some yogurt, and I personally actually found it all to be quite good. It was on the simpler side of breakfasts, but the banana bread was actually quite delicious. The apple was, an apple, you can't really go wrong with an apple, and the yogurt was actually pretty incredible and one of the best yogurts I've ever had. After this flight, I actually think I want to try and hunt down the store that sells this, because I'd love to have some at my house. All in all, I think that my rating for this breakfast would probably be around about a 7 out of 10, just as the flavour was there, just the variety wasn't as such, and it was on the simpler side of breakfasts. But, as I mentioned before, for a 3-hour flight, it isn't the worst. Somewhere like Jetstar, Jetstar Australia wouldn't give you anything for free. You'd have to pay for it, and it would probably be like Pringles or something, packaged. So I do think Qantas serving you breakfast like this is really nice, a good feature. Once we finally reached our first cruising altitude of today's flight of 38,000 feet, I thought I would connect to the free in-flight Wi-Fi and hop on Flight Radar, as my in-flight map, isn't the best. Flight Radar actually worked really well on here and everything loaded nice and quick, so I thought it was pretty cool I was able to find my flight. Nonetheless, I thought I'd show you a quick tutorial on how to sign up for the free Wi-Fi. First, all you do is go on your settings, turn on Wi-Fi and hit Qantas free Wi-Fi. It'll then take you to a website page that looks something like this. You'll press connect, you'll have to watch about a 30-second ad, and then it'll say you're connected, and then you can just hit in-flight Wi-Fi and you're good to go from there. I did a quick test and searched up Boeing 737-800 just to test how quick everything loaded, and it actually loaded very much quicker than my previous Qantas flights. The images loaded really fast, and the actual Google search itself was really quick, so I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with how well they did it today. Just my personal opinion, but I have to admit I personally much prefer having a whole row to myself in economy than in business, because you can honestly just lay out, stretch out as much as you want and no one's in your way. As we started to make our way across the Great Australian Bight, the fantastic cabin crew came around with some Lindt balls and even gave me a Qantas keyring and a Qantas cap totally for free, which I thought was so nice of them, and I honestly didn't even know they provided these things or at least had them on the aircraft. So I was so grateful that I had such a great cabin crew today, and personally they were the best cabin crew I've ever had. Not long after the cabin crew gave me those very generous gifts, I thought I would check out the economy class lavatory. There's 2 lavatories loaded at the back of the aircraft, and here are some features. They come with pretty good space for a domestic flight. It isn't too cramped, but it isn't huge. They come with 2 coat hooks along with some Qantas branded soap, and on today's flight the lavatory was pretty clean, which I was happy with. Just as I was walking out, I thought I would show how busy today's flight was, and it was actually fairly quiet with only about 70 passengers on board. Not long after doing the Lavatory tour, we were already hitting the coastline of Western Australia, and there were some awesome cloud formations I thought I would capture for you guys because they were some of the coolest I've ever seen from an aeroplane. Not long after that, I had a bit of a funny idea in my head and thought, well, I have Wi-Fi, so why don't I play Infinite Flight on an aeroplane? So I loaded into the sim over Western Australia and hopped in the same aircraft I was on today, a Qantas 737, and thought I would basically replicate what I was doing right now in real life. First time playing Infinite Flight on a plane, but I thought it was a pretty cool experience being able to look out the window on my iPad and out the actual window.
Just a few minutes time. We have made reasonable progress. We're showing a touchdown time right on 7:15. Should have you disembarking the aircraft at Seattle just a few minutes after that time. As mentioned earlier, 2.5 hour time change. The current local time in Perth is just coming up on 6:52. That's 6:52. Should have you disembarking by around 7:20.
Now that we were beginning a descent into Perth, I thought I would give our conclusion. Today's flight took me from Adelaide to Perth on a Qantas Boeing 737-800. We had multiple cruising altitudes today, the first being 38,000 and the second being 40,000. We cruised at Mach 0.78 and flight time today was 3 hours and 4 minutes. I could have not asked for a better cabin crew. They were absolutely incredible and went above and beyond for my needs and helped me have the best flight experience possible. The pilots today, well, obviously my dad, I kind of have to say they were great, and the captain was incredible as well. If you wanted to do this flight for yourself, it would cost $349, and it leaves at 6:30 a.m. in Adelaide and arrives into Perth at 7:15. We personally left a little bit late but arrived a little bit early into Perth, which I thought was quite nice. Security was a long line today, but that was because of the internationals. The check-in process was all on my phone, so I can't really rate that besides saying that the website I used was alright. Nonetheless, overall, I would give today's flight an 8.5 out of 10 and on the better side of my Qantas flights. So thank you for watching this far, and please enjoy the unedited landing footage into Perth, Western Australia.
Welcome to Perth. Qantas would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the local lands and waterways on which we live, work and fly. We pay respects to elders past and present. The local time here in Perth is 7:15 a.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is off. As always, smoking, vaping and the use of e-cigarettes is not permitted while disembarking or throughout the terminal. Please take care when opening the overhead lockers, as baggage may have moved and could fall out. Before leaving, ensure you check your seat and seat pocket for any personal items. If you can reach your mobile phone, you can turn off flight mode now. On behalf of us all here at Qantas and One World, would like to thank you for choosing to fly with us. If you are listening in Perth, we do hope you enjoy your stay. And of course, for those returning, welcome home.
So now, welcome to Perth, Western Australia. Today we parked on the left side of Perth Airport, which is the domestic side. The right side is international. And I actually had the opportunity to see my first QantasLink A319, as my first time being to Perth was ages ago. I personally think the A319 looks really cool in this livery, and I was really happy to see that, along with a QantasLink Fokker 100, which was actually in the old QantasLink livery, which I thought was pretty cool to see. Nonetheless, I will let everyone else deboard first so that I could head up to the cockpit again. So please enjoy some footage again of the cockpit and disembarking the aircraft. Now we've just disembarked the aircraft and headed out to the Perth car park, where I'm just waiting with my dad and the captain for our car to arrive. Sorry there was no footage of disembarking the aircraft or walking throughout the terminal. That's just because it's quite a short walk and I kind of wanted to talk a bit and debrief what happened over the flight, then be filming, so I do apologise for this. Otherwise, here is a bit of footage from the car drive to our hotel, the QT Perth. Besides that, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this trip report as much as I enjoyed filming it. It was an absolute pleasure to film. Yet again, I'm so thankful for the incredible crew I had on today's flight. Otherwise, I'd please encourage you to like, subscribe and comment down below what you thought of this video. Otherwise, thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.